Okay, the more I try to think about how to start this video, the less I'm able to figure it out. There's gonna be no intro for this video because I just don't feel like making one, so let's just get into the story itself. In this specific world, Deku's not exactly going to be his own persona, but instead I'm literally going to start Trunks off with Deku's body with literally zero, like nothing. He's going to start with nothing, and he's not even going to know why he's here, what's going on. He's just going to be born and be like, yo, why am I here? What is up with this world, and how the heck do I get back? And that's the whole preface of this story, because I just can't figure out any other way to possibly do this video. But with that being said, if you're not a fan of it, you're about to be, because I'm gonna cook anyways. And if I don't, then sorry, but you're still gonna eat the bad food anyways. But to get into the actual story itself, we're going to be starting everything off with the moment that Trunks makes his way down the birth canal. Now, Trunks obviously is going to see a bright light out of nowhere, and the second that he comes out, Trunks is just going to start crying. Or actually, no, he's not. I can see more of a situation where Trunks, seeing all this light, sees a doctor, sees his little baby hand, and just kind of has this realization as he's just like the quietest baby. The moment he was born, he's just literally sitting there looking around, assessing everything, right? Inko's looking at him. Doctor's like, wow, we don't usually get a baby that doesn't cry. When suddenly he's gonna let out the loudest cry that any baby has ever let out. Not something crazy enough to start like shattering, or actually, should we do it just for the comedic effect? Yeah, let's do it. He's gonna be having that effect, and then like Inko's gonna be like, what the heck? You know what I mean? Like the doctor nearly drops Izuku. He puts him in Inko's like arms, and then he just covers his ears. Izuku's over there kind of like trying to like move around, or should I really say Trunks, right? And it'd be in this moment that everything just sort of clicks. He realizes that the last thing he can remember was going back home after the defeat of the androids, but now he's here. And yeah, no, we're not going to be giving him Dragon Ball Super level powers, Super Saiyan 3, none of that bogus. He's not going to have any idea of any of that, because, bro, I mean, Super Saiyan alone is already busted as it is. He's already Moonbuster level, so let's just keep things there, right? Anyways, after this would happen, Trunks would pretty much spend the next couple of months having to learn how to walk again, having to learn how to talk again, having to, you know, be a baby and be forced to eat all these foods that he's not even really a fan of. Like, let's just say that one of Trunks' least favorite foods is carrots, but his mom keeps feeding him like carrot baby formula, or like the carrot Gerber food, you know what I mean? And he just has to eat it. And you know what I mean? Like, he's just struggling as a kid because he can't even talk yet to tell his family or ask what's going on. He's just kind of realizing that the more that he tries to fight against what's going on, the less it helps. So as Trunks just kind of goes through things, he's just wondering if maybe that was just a past life. Maybe the idea of reincarnation really is true, and maybe he died or something. That has to explain what's going on. But one thing would be on his mind, and that is why the heck he remembers his past life. This shouldn't be happening, but it is. And so Trunks would just kind of grow up. Eventually he makes it to be about 4 years old, and he forgets more and more about Bulma and starts thinking that, you know what, if there's anything he can bring from his past life, hopefully it's his power. He does miss the people, Goku, Bulma, Krillin, all of them, but he can't really get back what he had. Or can he? He begins thinking that maybe, just maybe, the Dragon Balls are here in this world, but with his state right now, there's just no way he can collect them. Weirdly enough though, his hair in this specific universe is green because his mom's hair, Inko, is green, and his dad's hair is white, so, or black, let's just say black. So he has like a weird mixture of black and green hair, and he's just like, I don't really like it. You know, like when he looks at his hair, he doesn't really like it. So all his younger years, he's going to be telling his mom to like help change his hair color or something, because he just doesn't like it. He wants to have, you know, purple hair, you know? But I digress. That's not really something that really matters. Anyways, point being, eventually he gets to the age where he can go to kindergarten, and around this age would be when he would meet a certain Katsuki Bakugo. Now, when he meets Bakugo, Izuku's personality is not going to be the same shy, timid boy that we're all accustomed to, but instead, he's going to be having more of this aura around him of just like matureness and not acting like a little kid like everybody else was. While everybody else was playing with certain things, he just didn't find it fun. Izuku was always doing his own thing, and that's kind of how it always was. When he got introduced to Bakugo, he would say hi, but not really pay much attention to him, and this would sort of bother Bakugo. This would eventually lead Bakugo to trying to challenge Deku to a fight, and this would lead to Izuku, kind of smirking and being like, alright, well I guess we can do this. But as Izuku tries to use moves that were previously easy for him to use, he would realize that, oh yeah, I can't. And so he gets absolutely destroyed by Bakugo, or not really absolutely destroyed, but he gets beat up, you know what I mean? And this would just leave a sour taste in his mouth because he knows that he has access to all of these things, but right now he can't even control his ki. He realizes that he has to learn everything from scratch. And so Trunks would pretty much just sit there and not know exactly what the heck he's supposed to do. Like, what's the first step to learning ki control? But he would know something. This weak body needs to get a lot stronger. And so, from that point forward, Izuku, at the age of literally like 4 years old, around the age that people start unlocking quirks, decides that he's just gonna start doing some light, training in order to get himself his physique ready to do some of the things that he wants to do. And so he starts training, and as everybody around him starts developing quirks, he's kind of the odd man out. He realizes that he's not inheriting these abilities that everybody else around him is, and instead of being the biggest fan of All Might like he was originally, he would think that All Might is really just a glorified Mr. Satan. Not really, but you know what I mean? Like, he's not that strong at all is what he would be thinking, right? But eventually, as time passes, because Izuku doesn't exactly get in anybody's way, and he doesn't have that personality of wanting to be a hero, and he really just doesn't bother Bakugo. He literally just stays in his own lane. He thinks of school as so dumb. He doesn't want to be there, and all he really wants to do is figure out a way to get back. So he really could not be bothered with any of this, really. And so he mainly just focuses on training, doing enough schoolwork to get him by, and just kind of being a good son. I mean, at the end of the day, Inko is his mom now, and he kind of loves her. She's so different from his mother Bulma, but he also misses Bulma. Something about her fiery nature and the way that she raised him just stuck to him, and he misses that. When he looks at Inko, he sees such a soft, sweet person, and a part of him starting to get attached to this world. How's he gonna leave this mom behind? He knows that he wants to get back to his friends and even save his own timeline, but what about these people? He would kind of just put that at the back of his head and think, no, I can't think about that, and just continue training. And eventually a couple of years would pass. Now Izuku would find himself being at the age of 9 years old, and he would have a pretty decently ripped physique. Nothing crazy where he's like nothing but pure muscle, like 10% body fat, but he would just kind of have like that athletic build, a lot more muscle than everybody else around him because, obviously he trains, he's very good at martial arts, but because he doesn't have access to something like a quirk, Izuku is pretty weak in terms of everybody else's standards. That is, until around this age, because now Izuku's finally going to start relearning ki control, and now Izuku sort of has a decent handle on it. He can now sort of levitate his body for a bit and enhance his attacks with ki slightly, making himself a little stronger, but other than that, yeah, he really doesn't have anything. Apparently, it seems to him like he's the only person who can do all these things. Or is that even the right word? I don't know. But point being, he can use ki now, right? Very, very weakly, kind of like Videl could. He's sort of trying to get to that level where Videl was during the tournament that they ended up taking place in, and that's around the level that he's inching closer and closer towards all this time. At this point, Izuku still has his little green hair and stuff like that, but he's a lot taller and a lot cooler looking than the original Izuku that we have. And so it'd be on this particular day that Deku's literally bothering nobody. You know what I mean? Like, he's literally just sitting there in the cafeteria, eating his lunch, drinking his chocolate milk, when all of a sudden Bakugo and his friends were walking by, and Bakugo just turns to one of his goonies and goes, "Hey, watch this." He would turn towards Izuku, picking up his or not picking things up, but just kind of like sliding Izuku's tray off of the table onto the ground. And as this would happen, you would just see Izuku like watch this with a blank face expression, looking up to Bakugo and being like, "What'd you do that for, Bakugo?" At this point, Bakugo would be like, "What? You gonna do something about it, defenseless Izuku?" As from here, Deku looks at Bakugo, sighs, picks up the thing and takes it to the trash. Bakugo from this moment would be like, Don't ignore me, Deku. And by the way, before I continue going with the story, I just quickly have to say, sorry if you guys do hear any barking in the background. My neighbor has a dog. He's so annoying. He always barks at everything and anything that moves. And like, what am I supposed to do? Like, go over there every single time I'm gonna record and just be like, hey, can you shut your dog up? You know what I mean? Like, what am I gonna do? But I digress. Yeah, if you hear a dog barking, please just ignore it. Try to do what I do. I can barely do it because sometimes at night he'll just start going yapping, and I just drives me nuts. Seriously, drives me nuts. But anyways, me venting to you guys aside, after Izuku walks away and is about to leave the area, Bakugo just goes, yeah, he just what would he even say to Izuku to like cause him to blow a casket or cause him to actually turn around and like try to do something to Bakugo? I can't even think of anything because I feel like Trunks is just so mature in a sense that little kid bullying is just not gonna get to him, or at least I don't think it will. So let's say that Bakugo would say something about his mother saying that she raised a weakling, and something along those lines would pretty much cause Izuku to just lose it. He turns back towards Bakugo with a glare, and Bakugo says, there she is. What, you gonna do something about it? Did I strike a nerve? As Izuku would grit his teeth and clench his fist up as hard as he can, he would sigh before walking away, and Bakugo would say, you think we're done here, Izuku? He would grab him from his shoulder, turn him back around and go to throw an explosion at his face. But before it could connect, Izuku would grab onto his wrist and redirect the explosion, telling him to leave him alone. As he squeezes onto his wrist and pretty much causes Bakugo to let out a shriek, which would lead to Izuku being, kind of just walking away, and Bakugo to think, how the heck is that freak so strong? I could have swore it felt like he nearly broke something. He would hold onto his wrist and see that it's very, very red, and he would just kind of scoff before walking away and being like, whatever, he got lucky this time. As you would just sort of see Deku walking outside of the door, and his ki would start to spike, as you would realize that Izuku had just used his ki in a way that he wasn't able to do so before, as he would think, that's it, rage, anger, how did I not think about this sooner? Gohan probably would be scowling at me right now if I didn't. Well, whatever. I guess now's a better time for me to use that as any. As Izuku right outside would just make his way towards the top of the school and start practicing on his ki. He would let out little bits and pieces of it flow out as Izuku would smirk and think to himself that he's progressing pretty well. He wishes he could have done this a lot faster, but he remembers how long it took him to even learn Super Saiyan, so he's not surprised. At this point, he would continue doing martial arts training after school, ki control training, and eventually, he would find himself at a pretty decent power level by the time that we get to the first episode of My Hero Academia. As Izuku would be walking home, or not walking home, but walking to school one day, Izuku from the corner of his eye would see a large crowd, and he would turn only to see a gigantic monster-like being pretty much trying to get away. Apparently he was some purse thief and ended up using his quirk trying to escape from the cops. And so, Izuku seeing this would sigh as he holds one hand out and a purple-like energy would shoot out from his hand as nobody would notice, but it would go shooting right towards the direction of the villain, who would see it coming at the last second and be like, wait, what the heck is? As he would just get blown up to, not blown up literally, but like it would blow up in his face and knock him out, leading him to be blown, like tossed on the ground with Kamui Woods being like, lacquer chain print, being like, what happened? And then you just have Mount Lady coming in like, and she's just like, wait, what? How did this? Izuku just walks off with nobody really noticing what actually happened, and him making his way into the classroom where Izuku would just sit down and say, well, only a little bit more school left before I can finally go to UA where I can get a hero license. I wonder if that'll let me do something with the whole Dragon Ball situation. The more and more research that I do, the less I find. It's so annoying. He would grab at his hair and just be like, ugh. And at this point, Izuku has now finally changed his hair to the color purple. And he's starting to slowly look more and more like the one that you guys will see in the thumbnail. Which, by the way, let me know what you guys think about that image. Like, I paid like $15 for it to get made, and it's just pretty much Trunks drawn in the My Hero Academia style. Let me know what you guys think. But anyways, eventually the teacher would walk into the room and would say, all right, guys, well, today I'm going to be giving you guys career aptitude tests. Is what I would say If I didn't know you all want to become heroes! As he would throw the paper into the air and everybody just starts using their quirks like crazy. Eventually, Bakugo would stand up on top of his desk saying, "Hey, teach, don't lump me in with these losers. I'm not like them. They'd be lucky to be some sidekicks, some busted D-listers." As from here, we would pretty much get everybody getting so mad at Bakugo as he would say, "Well, yeah, I'm the only one with the highest scores here. I'm gonna make it to the big leagues and be even better than All Might." And as he's saying that, the teacher would just go, "Oh yeah, Izuku, you also want to go to the national school, don't you?" As Bakugo would turn his attention towards Izuku and remember his last interaction with him, which was that time in the cafeteria. He would turn towards the direction of Izuku, who doesn't show any signs of fear at all. And Bakugo in this moment would proceed to say, "Damn Deku, if it wasn't enough for you to embarrass your family with your quirklessness, now you gotta embarrass the school too?" As it would be in this moment that Izuku hearing that, and Bakugo would, Izuku hearing that would get mad, right? And the only reason that Bakugo would say something like that is because he knows that whenever he mentions his mom or family, he gets angry. So Izuku hearing this in this moment would get mad, but just kind of like calm down, being like, "It's not worth it. What, I'm just gonna kill a guy just because he hurt my feelings?" You know what I mean? Is sort of what he would be thinking. And Bakugo would, walk up towards Deku saying, "Answer me, Deku. Do you just want to go try out for the national school just so you can embarrass us, or what?" As it'd be in this moment that Deku hearing this would kind of just ignore Bakugo, as Bakugo would throw an explosion towards the desk of Izuku, sending him crashing into the wall, as Deku, annoyed at the fact that this just happened, or Trunks really, would just kind of walk it off, get back up, set his desk up once more, and Bakugo would go to throw another explosion, but Deku would glance at him with this stare that just screams, "Do it again, and I am going to beat you to a pulp." But as Bakugo stopped, the teacher would say, "Bakugo, leave him alone already, or I'll send you to the principal's office." As it was at this moment that Bakugo would stop, say, "Fine, you got lucky, Deku." And so, after class would finally end, Bakugo and his goonies would end up arriving right next to Deku, right before he ended up packing his last thing. He had fallen asleep in class. But after this happens, Bakugo would walk over towards Deku right at the end of class and say, "So, you think you can embarrass me in front of the class and I was just gonna let you walk out of here without a bruise or two? Well, you're sorely mistaken, you damn nerd." As it'd be at this point that Izuku would finally look up towards Bakugo and say, "Bakugo, you're really annoying. I don't know why you choose to mess with me out of all of the people in this class. If your hero skills are anything as bad as your analysis skills, then you're going to be in for a rough career, buddy." As from here, Bakugo goes to throw an explosion at Izuku, who simply just stands there and tanks it. And when Bakugo peels his hand back, or pulls it back, he pulls it back, he would see that there was not even a scratch on Deku, who would have reinforced himself with ki, before then turning towards Bakugo and beginning to walk closer to a stunned Bakugo, who begins throwing explosion after explosion after explosion, causing a bunch of dust to spike up. As his goons would say, "Bakugo, what's wrong with you? You're gonna kill him." But Bakugo would say, "He'll be fine," throwing multiple explosions at him. As eventually a hand would come out and grab onto Bakugo's arm, like snapping it. As it'd be in this moment that Bakugo would cry out in pain and try to throw another explosion with his other hand, but before he could even connect it, Deku would punch him into the stomach, knocking Bakugo out, as he would open the window nearby and say, "You guys can clean that up, right? Take him to the principal's office." As it'd be in this moment that Deku would jump out of the window and they wouldn't even see him anymore, since they looked down trying to find Izuku, but Izuku would have flown up on top of the roof. You know what I mean? At that point, he was kind of aura farming. But regardless, they're like, "Where the heck did he go? Does he have a quirk we don't know about?" they would think. As it'd be in this moment that they're like, "Well, whatever happened, we gotta treat Bakugo." So they would take Bakugo towards the nurse, where eventually Izuku would finally just make his way back home, realizing, "Crap, I'm late." As he would take a different path than the one that he usually does to make his way home, seeing as if he starts flying, heroes are going to get on his case about using his quirk or something like that. And so, making his way there, he would suddenly sense a very, very small key signature coming his way. And Izuku, sensing this, would essentially end up turning towards the direction of the sludge villain, as it would say, Good thing I found you, kid. You're going to be a real hero to me." as we would just get a scene where the sludge villain's like about to entirely cover Izuku with its body, as Izuku's just looking at him so nonchalantly, as he would expand his aura and the sludge villain would just splatter everywhere. At this moment, Deku would start to walk away as All Might would come out of the tunnel system and say, "Ha ha ha, I am here?" He would look and see that the sludge villain was there, splattered everywhere, and he would turn towards Izuku asking if he did this, with him asking him what his quirk is, and Izuku saying that he's actually quirkless. As from here, All Might would say that he's absolutely shocked he was able to do something like this, going on to pretty much tell Izuku that, ask him if he can help him pick up the sludge villain, as Izuku would turn towards All Might and say, "Sorry All Might, gotta go, I'm already running late, my mom's gonna kill me." As from here, All Might would smile and say, "Well, hopefully I'll see you again, young man. Carry on." As Izuku would just kind of run home full speed, and All Might would be shocked. He's like, "Dude, that kid practically disappeared." He would turn the corner to see if he could see Izuku, seeing as, he couldn't, and then he'd be stunned thinking about Deku all day, being like, just how strong was that kid? He would essentially take the sludge villain back towards the police station, and because of this, there would be no sludge villain incident, which means that because of this, Izuku doesn't get one for all. But this also means that somebody like Bakugo wouldn't even be a thought in All Might's head for receiving the quirk, which I don't know if it was in the original, but regardless. After this would happen, we would pretty much just get 10 months of school, like a couple months of school and a couple months of Izuku training and doing his best, trying to refine his skills as much as he possibly can. Although there was one thing that Deku just still couldn't manage to crack, and that was the barrier of Super Saiyan. He had gotten as strong as he could, he thinks, without that transformation. And at this point, he was just kind of staggering. At this point, he was already at that Saiyan Saga level of power, so he really didn't need any more as far as this world was concerned. But regardless of that, he was just upset. He couldn't break past this limit. It was almost as if there was like a wall stopping him from doing so. But he didn't really care. He continued training, refining his martial arts skill, and refining his ki control, which eventually would lead to the 10 months finally being over, as Izuku now would be taken to take the UA entrance exam, and his mother would say, "Izuku, are you sure about this? I don't want you getting hurt." And Izuku would turn towards her saying, "Mom, I promise I'll come back unscathed." As she would smile at him, and he would say, "And I might even get first place," as he would walk out and begin taking the test. He starts off with the entrance exam, obviously, like, come on now. He starts off with the written portion of the exam, aces that with flying colors, and right after that would be over, he would make his way towards taking the, and you guys might be wondering, like, oh, why does he ace that? Dude, he's the son of Bulma. The dude has to be incredibly smart, you know what I mean? But regardless, after that would happen, we would pretty much just get a scene of him waiting for the robot section to start, and he would notice that there would be a specific girl who looks very, very worried about this test. Izuku, walking over towards her, would see that it's a girl with brown hair, and as he gets closer and closer, he would feel a hand touch on his shoulder. Izuku would turn around to see who it is, and it would just be Ida bothering him about not messing with people taking the test, to stay in his own lane. And you would just get Izuku saying, "I was just gonna go help." But as this would happen, we would get President Mike saying, "Go, go, go! What are you waiting for? There's no countdowns in a real battle." And so everybody would rush towards the robots, as Izuku would smirk and fly off, as he would grab a sword on his back, taking it off and unsheathing it, as he would rush at robots and destroy them at such an incredible pace that would shock everybody there. Izuku ultimately would lay all of the robots on one pile, and the burning rubble and smoke would rise up into the air as he would sit on top of it all and think to himself that that ought to have made him pass, plus he might have broken a couple of records, as Izuku would think to himself that he didn't even have to break a sweat or even try all that hard. And so, eventually the ground would start shaking, and everybody would start running away, as Izuku, sitting there just aura farming, would look up to see a gigantic 0-pointer, and notice that it was about to crush one Uraraka, you know what I mean? As he would fly over towards her direction, and just as it was about to crush her, and Principal Nezu was gonna press stop on the 0-pointer, and the other teachers were like, "You have to stop it." Nezu would say, "Wait, hold on," as Izuku would stand underneath the 0-pointer with one arm, would stop it from crushing Uraraka and himself, and would say, "Hey, you need a hand?" And then Izuku would push the 0-pointer up with one hand before saying Masenko and blowing it up in the air. As Uraraka seeing this and everybody else watching, it would turn into straight up fireworks, and Trunks would hold his hand out to Uraraka asking if she's okay. She would look and just start blushing so hard. This dude just proceeded to aura farm so hard, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's just looking at him thinking that he is like the coolest, and Izuku, you know, he kind of is. But right after this would happen, Nezu would say, I've seen all I need. He is 100% gonna be accepted into the school. As from here, you would just get a scene of Deku walking away, and everybody would just be staring at him, and people would be clearing the path for him, as Izuku would think, guess that's the end of part 1. Wonder if they'll hit enough likes for me to even be motivated to make a part 2. Well, I guess we'll see. And anyways, like you guys just heard Trunks say, hit the like button or I'm not dropping a part 2. Like, it's simple as it gets, bro. Hit the like button. If I see a lot of likes, a lot of you guys like this video, I'll drop a part 2. If not, tough luck, buddy. Anyways, I love each and every single one of you guys. It has been your boy Xehther, and I am out. Peace.